Alright, let's dive into what's happening down in Athens because day 2 of Georgia's fall camp just wrapped up, and honestly, there's a lot to unpack here. Now, before we get into the names and the plays, let me just say this. Kirby Smart challenging his team to stack days. That's a mindset I can get behind. It's not just about showing up, it's about building momentum, day after day. And from what I'm hearing, the intensity is already through the roof. Personally, I think this kind of approach sets the tone for a season. It's about consistency, not just flashes of brilliance. So, let's talk about who's stepping up. First off, Gunner Stockton. Now, I've been keeping an eye on him, and what makes this really interesting is how he's delivering under pressure. Hitting deep balls for touchdowns. That's not just about arm strength, it's about timing, trust in your receivers, and staying cool in the pocket. In my opinion, if Stockton keeps this up, he's going to be a game changer this season. But here's the thing, what many people don't realize is that deep passes like that also say a lot about the receivers. Isaiah Canion hauling in those touchdowns. That's a connection that could be huge for Georgia's offense. If you take a step back and think about it, this could be the start of something special between Stockton and Canion. Now, let's talk about Chase Linton. I've been hearing his name a lot lately, and it's not just hype. The fact that he's consistently showing up in these early practices. That's a sign of reliability, and in a sport as unpredictable as football, that's gold. One thing that immediately stands out is how he's handling the pressure of being a standout. It's easy to have one good day, but stacking them. That's where the real talent shows. On the defensive side, Demello Jones is a name you're going to want to remember. An interception and a pass breakup in the red zone. That's not just luck, that's instinct and positioning. What this really suggests is that Jones is reading the field well, and that's a skill that can't be taught. From my perspective, if he keeps this up, he's going to be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Now, let's shift gears to the younger players because, honestly, this is where things get really exciting. Terrence Penick, for example, this unheralded linebacker is turning heads, and what makes this fascinating is that he's doing it without the spotlight. 2 different sources mentioning him. That's not a coincidence. In my opinion, Penick could be one of those players who flies under the radar until he's suddenly everywhere. And then there's Kaiden Prothro, Thomas Blackshear, and Craig Dandridge, all names that are popping up early. What many people don't realize is that these early impressions matter. Coaches are watching, and if you're making plays now, you're setting yourself up for bigger opportunities down the line. But here's the thing, it's only day 2. I know it's tempting to get hyped about these performances, but we've got to keep it in perspective. This raises a deeper question. How much can we really read into these early practices? Personally, I think it's less about the specific plays and more about the mindset. Are these players showing up with the right attitude? Are they responding to challenges? Because that's what's going to matter when the season kicks off. A detail I find fascinating is how Kirby Smart's stack days philosophy is already showing results. It's not just about individual performances, it's about building a culture of consistency. And if these players are buying into that, Georgia could be looking at a very strong season. But here's the kicker, every team looks good in practice. The real test is when the lights come on and the pressure's on. So, while I'm excited about what I'm hearing, I'm also keeping my expectations in check. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, if you ask me, it's this. Georgia's fall camp is already shaping up to be a battleground for talent, and the players who are standing out now are the ones who are not just making plays, but also embracing the mindset of stacking days. Whether it's Stockton's deep balls, Jones's defensive instincts, or Penick's quiet rise, there's a lot to be excited about. But the real question is who's going to keep it up? And that, my friends, is what makes this season so intriguing. Let me know in the comments who you're keeping an eye on, and let's see how these names hold up as camp goes on. Because one thing's for sure, this is just the beginning.